So for me, I came out when I was 18 years old. I was a freshman in college. I had just lost my mom, and I just knew it was the right time. But in coming out, I was really subjected to a lot of harassment and bullying. I became a target on campus. My room was vandalized. Just a lot of ugly things happened. Had I not been the type of student I was, I could have easily been a statistic. I could have easily been one of the students who didn't make it. And my coming out and my working toward creating that environment really helped other students on campus to come out. And it was after that that I realized I wasn't alone, and that it would get better. And it did. On the student level, because it was such a small environment, I was freshman class president when I came out, and I was also dating a girl. And her and I together decided it was time for me to come out. It was really an interesting experience. Like, it was just that time. But I think students felt like they were bamboozled or they were hoodwinked. Here they had this idea of who I was, and then I kind of flipped the whole script on them. You know, like, no, this is who I really am. And it was really difficult, I think, for them to accept that and to feel like they could trust me. But on a personal level, I think people felt like I was dishonest with them, right? And so I came out initially to a small group of friends. And when it became big campus news, as it would because I was freshman class president, other friends eventually came and saw me and were really angry because they didn't feel like I trusted them enough to have the conversations with them. And so it was an interesting experience because it was my coming out process, but other people needed to feel like they were involved in that process. What they had articulated to me was that they associated being gay with guys jumping into dresses and putting on makeup and you know, wanting to be women. And that's not my identity. That's just not who I am. And so I was true to myself. I was honest about who I was, and so they didn't feel like I was changing at all. They just knew something different about me. I think that helped. You know, the idea that I could still be true to who I was, and this wasn't a definition. This was just a part of me that you weren't aware of before. You know, in many ways, like if I were a closet smoker, for example, you wouldn't know that I smoked. So it didn't change who I was. It's just a small part of who I am. It's interesting that coming out is you don't just ever come out once. You will continue to have to come out over and over and over again. And now I've kind of got it down to a science. You know, now I just carry myself as I am, and when people ask the question, yeah, you know, that's who I am. And if they don't ask the question, we don't have the conversation, and it just is what it is. That would be the advice I would give to any student, to thine own self be true and always tell the truth. It is okay to be who you are without apology, without feeling like you owe anybody an explanation. You have to make that decision for yourself, and you have to live with yourself at the end of the day. And that's the best advice I could give anybody. It's okay to be afraid, and to not know what tomorrow is going to bring, and to remember that it always works out. There's never a time when life has not worked out. It may not go in the direction that I want it to go in, it may not happen in the way that I want it to happen, but it always works out. We, as a people, have to understand and appreciate that at the core of everything we do is love. And that doesn't have a gender, it doesn't have an identity, it doesn't have bias, love is just love. And so if we get to a place where we appreciate that and we value that and we understand that, then we don't need to worry about it getting better because it already is better.